Are you in the market to buy a house right now and wondering if you should go at it alone or work with a buyer's agent? Well, let me give you 4 reasons why you should consider working with a buyer's agent. So what is a buyer's agent? I think to answer that question in the best way, it's best to explain how real estate works. When a seller wants to go sell their home, they hire a listing agent. That listing agent is there as a fiduciary to represent the seller and only the seller. In Maryland, you cannot represent both the seller and the buyer in a transaction. So if you want to go at it alone, you would be unrepresented and going in a transaction where you're negotiating and going up against a seasoned professional that is only representing the seller's agent. The flip side to that is a buyer's agent. A buyer's agent would have a fiduciary responsibility to represent the buyer's interest in the transaction and only the buyer's interest in the transaction. So reason number 1 would be the buyer's agent is there to represent you and your interest and guide you throughout the entire process. It really is an interesting question when you think about it. Buying a home is typically the biggest purchase of someone's life, and it is absolutely essential to have a great buyer's agent working alongside with you throughout that process. Number 2, a buyer's agent is going to be able to negotiate for you. Not only are they going to be able to negotiate the price, but they're going to be able to walk you through appropriate terms and ways to sometimes get your offer accepted without being the highest price. Many times you'll go into a multiple offer situation and people just want to give the highest price possible in order to get the house. However, when you work with a seasoned buyer's agent that is experienced, there's often many ways and many terms that you can give a seller that are even more valuable than price. So step 1 would be getting your offer accepted. Once your offer is accepted, there's so many nuances to each transaction that you're going to need to rely on their experience and negotiation tactics to get you through that process, such as inspections, walkthroughs, and all the other contingencies that go into a real estate purchase. I had buyers that are looking to buy a home and they loved the home. The home was listed at $1.6 million and they were more than willing to go and pay $1.6 million for the home. Originally they said, let's offer 1.6. Because I knew that their other terms were so strong, and I had multiple conversations with the listing agent where I was able to use my experience to draw out information from them, I let them know, hey, I think we can get this much lower. So we ended up getting that house that they were willing to pay 1.6 for $1,550. That's just an example of what a buyer's agent can do for you, where they can use their experience, their relationships with other people in the industry on the listing side to be able to get you the best deal possible. In summary, a good agent will be able to take the guessing out of the negotiations and really walk you through exactly what it's going to take to get that house for the best price possible and the best terms possible, whereas protecting your interests but also getting you that property that you love. Number 3, experience. One of the most valuable parts of working with a buyer's agent is the fact that that buyer's agent, assuming you're working with a good buyer's agent, is going to be experienced. So you're not just working with them because of that one transaction that relates to you, but you're working with them because of the hundreds of transactions that they've done before you. And what that does and what that means for you is all the little nuances that can pop up in a transaction that buyer's agent will have or should have seen before and can walk you through what to do, what to expect, and how they can get you through the many obstacles that are likely to pop up throughout your transaction. For example, the average contract in Maryland probably contains about 60 pages of documents that have been written by lawyers. There are so many nuances that pop up that if you don't have a clear understanding exactly how that contract works and exactly how a contingency works, you can oftentimes find yourself in a lot of trouble. So working with somebody that has experience and really understands the contracts is super important. And now for a quick commercial timeout. Are you thinking of moving to Maryland, DC, or Northern Virginia areas? We've helped hundreds and hundreds of buyers in these areas and would absolutely love to be a resource for you. Should you want to talk more about buying or selling in this area, please reach out. My phone number is 301-452-3245, and the rest of my information is below. All right, back to the video. Number 4 is access to properties. And when I say access to properties, I'm not just saying the buyer's agent's gonna have the ability to get you into any property that you want to see. What I'm saying is access to both on and off market properties. A huge value that comes from working with an experienced buyer's agent is that buyer's agent's ability to network with other agents to know what they have coming that's not on the market, that you can't see through the major search engines like Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, and other places, but to know what's coming before it ever hits the market, giving you first access. Compass, for example, the brokerage that I work for, we have what's called Compass Coming Soon and Private Exclusive. Here in Montgomery County, over 1/3 of the homes are sold through Compass. Before those homes ever hit the market, you're typically getting to see them on our Compass exclusive websites. So working with a Compass agent, you're going to be able to see so many other homes that are not on the major search engines, which is a huge value that working with an experienced buyer's agent gives you. Also, one side note, it's very common when you're going to buy new construction to think that you don't need a buyer's agent to help you with that transaction. That is a common misconception, and you do need a buyer's agent on a new construction home just as much as you do when you're going to buy a resale. Reason being, a good buyer's agent will have lots of experience when it comes to working with builders. The builder's rep that you're meeting with represents a seller, as I was mentioning earlier, and has the seller's best interest. So they're going to know what the seller wants and needs, and they're going to focus on those things. If you're bringing a buyer's agent, they're going to know what you want and what you need, what's most important to you, and they'll be able to negotiate on your behalf. Now, sometimes you'll meet with the builder's rep and they'll say, okay, our price is firm, and that may be the case, but they do oftentimes have different incentives or different things of that nature that you're able to maneuver so that it best suits you versus best suits the builders. There's a lot of nuances that go into that, so if you have more questions, please reach out. One example would be there's lots and lots of real estate networking events, and some agents go there just to have a few drinks and say hello to people. However, what good buyer's agents do when they go there is they take their buyers' needs and what those buyers are looking for in this market, in a market that has a huge shortage of inventory, and they're going to these events and saying, hey, what do you have that is this, or what do you have that meets this criteria? And they're asking people at these events what they have coming up before they ever hit the market. And we've done quite a number of deals this way, where I say, hey, I have this buyer looking for an $800,000 home in Rockville. Do you have anything like that that's coming up, or do you know anybody that does? And it really is great to see the results that we get from going to all these different networking events, where there's hundreds of realtors out there that do have access to a lot of listings before they ever hit the market. So in summary, why you should work with a buyer's agent is they can represent you throughout the process. They'll be able to negotiate on your behalf. They'll be able to use their experience from the hundreds of transactions that they've done before you, and they'll give you a much broader access to both on and off market properties. So what do you think? If you're thinking about buying a house, do you think you would still want to do it on your own? Do you think you would want to use a buyer's agent? Have you bought a house with a buyer's agent? Comment below, let me know your experience. Thanks for watching my video. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.